And you're still watching Prime Morning. It's time for the big interview. I'm excited with my guest for today because she is doing something that a lot of women are not doing. Now, this woman, when I saw her profile, I smiled and I said, wow, she's ventured into a sector that as a young girl, I dreamt of it, but I never could get there. Now, this woman actually is also the first female professor in finance at the School of Business. Yes, that's the woman I'm talking about. And she's here, right here. We have to get to know how she did it. How did she get there? Did she always dream of becoming a professor? I don't know. For the young ladies out there, today is your show. So make sure you tune in. If you have a friend, you have a young one out there who is a little bit confused about career selection, or if even you're going through something and you feel that the end is here, let me tell you this, the end is not here yet. Listen to her story. You'll definitely be inspired and it will make a great change in your life. Who am I talking about today? My guest for today is Professor. Now, I love to call women professors because when we say woman professor, then it means woman professor. We don't have a lot. Her name is Professor Mrs. Vera l.fiador. Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
You go to school a lot, eh? You never stop learning.
Yeah, in fact, that bridge, I remember when we moved after we were then living in Jamestown. So first year we moved to Ashonma, and it was still a Ghana community. So people had heard that, my father is an agric officer. He has 3 girls, 1 boy. And they said the oldest one is in school. And for like 5-6 months, they hadn't seen. And apparently, one of my cousins, who is not even Ghana, went out with my younger brother. It's my younger brother who heard it. Money, yeah. Papa that is that the oldest daughter. I can't at school. Meaning school no I na. Meaning what kind of school do we go to that we don't finish? So yes, I've loved school, and growing up my worst punishment is to tell me not to go to school.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What made you love school so much?
I don't know, but for some reason I thought I genuinely find joy in learning. I'd always want to gobble up knowledge. That one has always been something I just enjoyed. So whilst I think going to school, I found colleagues would learn because they have to. I learn because I just like to
love to learn,
read, get new ideas, test something here and there. Yes, so usually the TV watches me whilst I'm reading the book.
What did your parents do right?
I don't know. Somebody asked me that because I was born and bred in Jamestown. So somebody was like, Jamestown, PhD, something is not right. We need to decode it. I believe maybe their faith in God, their quest maybe to go or see their children move a step higher than they could attain must have played a big role, because growing up, I think my dad was also very, no, you can't do,
parents?
Very on a lot of things. Of course, growing up in Jamestown, you don't release your children like that. At Jamestown, when you're 15 and you haven't had a kid yet, you're called barren. Oh yes, it's actually something that that has forced many into having children, not because they genuinely want the children or the babies, because some of them are children themselves. Some
for the boys as well, or it's for the girls?
Mostly the challenges for the girls. At 15,
years.
So at 15, the taunt is, onyo for school, Kenny. Meaning, because you can't have children, you claim to be going to school. That's barren woman. So yes, my dad was a bit, should I say, very constrictive on who we could interact with, and so.
How old was your mother when she had you?
My mom was 23.
Okay, so was she called a barren for a while?
No, so for her, she is not Ghana.
Okay.
So my dad is actually Dangbe, but they also grew up for the better part in Jamestown. So when they got married, I was had in Jamestown. I think by 3-4 we moved to Mamprobi area where I started school. then one or two things, they moved back to Jamestown. Were sent to stay with my grandma for about some 3 years while they tried to put themselves together. So by JHS 1, I was back in Jamestown, and then so I went to school with MWH. So during that time we stayed with grandma, I went to Christ Mission, and that was a private school back then in Kashima. It was out starting up, so it was a wooden structure. I haven't been there in years, so I really don't even know what the place looks like. But then I went back to MOH, that's Ministry of Health, JHS, and so we lived at Jamestown, around the Ankara Lane, closer to the shore, and then you trek to school most of the time.
Wow.
You do the trot roll. But going home was constant. It was a walking journey, so you walk.
How many siblings do you have?
We are 4 in total, 3 girls, and then the last one is a boy.
Okay, and you are number?
1.
Okay. So was there pressure on you being number 1 in Jamestown?
Not really. In fact, did I ever notice pressure? No.
Did your siblings love to study like you did?
Yes, my younger sister went into nursing. She's doing great. The third one also is completing her master's. The last one is pursuing a PhD with a focus in maths and computer science. And so
what?
So I think for some reason maybe we didn't have entertainment. Of course, growing up when you don't have TV and you've got to find something to entertain yourself with. There wasn't space.
There was no TV? You didn't have TV?
No. Growing up, once in a while where I think my dad's older sister traveled, so she was doing quite well. I must say she was one of the few women who went into academia. So maybe unconsciously, maybe she was some kind of, should I say, light bearer, vision bearer, that sort of lighted the path. So she was in computer science anyway. And then, so when she moved, I think, she had a TV. So we got it for a while in between when it goes bad, and then that's that. But for the better part of our lives.
Will we then say that, TV could be one of the reasons why some children don't like to study?
Oh, yes, I can say that even for my children currently. It's a whole battle to convince them to move away from the TV. In fact, when they're watching TV, we could do till 10 and they're not feeling sleepy. You actually have to veto.
Right.
It's 8:30, get off to bed, and you find them sneaking here and there. And then the day you veto that, okay, today no TV, everybody get your books, and in 5 minutes.
Because of problem, they are sleeping.
They are asleep, fast asleep. In fact, on those days, you don't have to be the one to tell them, go and sleep. They sleep naturally.
Right.
So TV, yes, TV can be a bit of a distraction for most.
For the young ones out there.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your dreams and aspirations. Growing up where you say you grew up, Jamestown. I mean, what did you want to be in future?
It was a very interesting path anyway. So growing up, having transitioned to a Ministry of Health, walking home all the time, I used to see these medical students in their white robe, and so of course I aspired to be a doctor.
And then, I knew it. You know,
you see those young people come in their white robes, and every day you see them. So you normally see them in their groups moving back and forth. So of course the idea was to become a doctor, and then I guess that's why they say for lack of knowledge my people perish. I went to write BEC. The rules were make sure the work is neat, make sure the examiner can read, blah, 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 blah. What they never failed to tell was that BEC apparently doesn't give extra paper.
Oh.
I never knew. I'm actually finding out now that my daughter went to write BEC, and then I got to know they apparently don't give extra paper. So I follow the rules, leave 2 lines in between, make sure the work is well spaced. So I really spaced my work and I wrote boldly. Only that halfway through my section B, I ran out of paper. Almost like more than half. I'm not sure I wasn't even done with half the time. So I asked for extra paper because of course I could finish the work clean and simple. And then paper is coming, paper is coming,
Paper never came.
Paper never came. That day I wept.
Oh my goodness, I can only imagine.
I wept. And so the PEC results came and I got my 11 ones, but a 2 in science. So clearly Holy Child picks because yes, those were the days when the grades had to be good. And once they were good, you didn't have to know anyone and then you just got it. So Holy Child picked me that, oh, definitely having made the choice to go to Holy Child.
Was that your first choice school?
Yes. I remember when those were the days. To these days, you have to help your children pick. I think our teachers back then helped us.
Yes.
They looked at your performance and they said, oh, these are the schools you could fit into. So they told me that. I remember I said, oh, for you, I heard the good schools were in Cape Coast. That's what I heard. So I was told, and I said, I want to go to a girls' school. So I was told there are 2 top girls' schools in Cape Coast. Holy Child and Wesley Girls. For some reason, I just fell in love with the name Holy Child. I'd never seen anyone from there. I didn't know anybody from there, of course, where I lived and all that. There was no link whatsoever. But for some reason, I just fell in love. So I was like, oh, for you, I'm sure you get into any one of them, so make your pick. So I just
because of the name Holy. Why, were you a good girl?
Yes.
A church girl?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe too prim and proper for my own good. I think I still butt heads once in a while. People were like, a friend of mine was so, as for Vera, she doesn't polish the true small or it drops. So I got to Holy Child, my first choice, but they said, okay, you have 2 in science. It will be a bit difficult to explain why I would put you there when maybe others are also looking, but the class is full, so they are elimination by rough tactics. So mine was easy to say, you know something, until there's something we couldn't consider. So the offer was to do my first term, and if I proved as good a student as they believe I may be, if I still wanted to switch, then I would.
But were you heartbroken?
Oh, yes. I think for my first term, I was a bit, really sad. But then, I'd actually gone to MOH also because I loved French.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. So when I got there and they said they couldn't give me, I said, okay, then I'll do French. And so the French came with the English and literature. And so my first term, I did my English, my French, my literature, and then of course I did the science. So the science paper, the maths and stuff came after term 1, and I had aced. So I was given the offer. If I wanted to switch, then they'll make room for me to catch up with my colleagues. But for some reason, I'd fallen in love with the French language. So I said I wasn't going to change. My parents were like, are you sure? I was like, oh, all the better. Interestingly, I think it was maybe God sent because it was that vacation I realized I had a serious phobia for blood. If anybody starts bleeding now, I collapse first. Oh yeah, so if we happen to be here and somebody starts bleeding, you may have to carry me first before you carry the one who is bleeding.
Wow.
And so
you realize that, okay, it was a good thing.
Maybe it's a good thing because I'm sure I would have had challenge because I had colleagues who passed, made it to medical school, and then started battling. Some couldn't really handle the whole thing. So yeah, academically good, but I think working with the human body and cutting, I think it didn't work for them. So I ended up doing my English, my French.
Okay.
I did great. I represented the school for competitions, etc. And
so you speak French fluently?
Oh no, I let it go somewhere along there.
Really?
Okay, because when I got to the university, then of course I asked, what can I do with French? Because here I have French, English, and then the literature. So I was clearly with my grades, I got French as one of the options. I got English, I got linguistics, and then psychology.
So that's general arts, right?
Yes, so the general arts. So I at the university year 1, and then I asked around, what can I use this course for? I'm looking back today and I'm saying, if maybe I had somebody who knew what they could do, I may have actually pursued a profession as maybe a language academic, possibly. maybe like the current VC who is a linguistics professor. But all they told me was that, oh, I can be a translator. I was like, so I can only translate what people are saying, but not what I want to say. Okay, then I'm not sure I want to be doing that. I can only translate what somebody is saying, but I don't say what I want to say. And my name, my appellation is what we call Madulu. So I talk a lot. Most people who know me tell you that I could chat the whole room full.
Right.
But so I was like, nah, I can't do that. I don't see it jiving with. So what else can I do? Then I'm told that, okay, the business school does what we call justify your inclusion. Because they take mostly from level 200 onwards. If you're able to get a very good grade in level 100, the time, and our level 100 wasn't then what we call, it was on scoring, but you could do a good job of that. Then you could transition
to the business school.
To the business school too. So
that's University of Ghana.
Yes.
Right.
So University of Ghana Business School. So our year, the cutoff point was 3.7 out of 4. So if you were to make a 3.7, then you could transition from whichever course to the business school, and then they'll groom you way up. So that was how come I ended up at the business school.
So what did you make?
The 3.7.
Wow. No sleep. Team no sleep. I like how you laugh.
I guess recently a roommate of mine was like, but how come your head was so screwed on correctly?
Because of what? 3.7?
Yeah. Oh, no. At first I had very good grades, 3.8s, 3.9s. People have it.
Did you have any extra life apart from studying in school?
I think my extra life, I did a bit of athletics. So I used to be a 100 meter, 200 and 400 runner for Sabah Hall. Those were and then my favorite pastime, which is singing. I love to sing, and so those were the main things. Beyond that, outing, no. So of course I did get ridiculed by sometimes roommates, floor mates. You know, everybody wants to go out, and then Vera says
Vera
no.
is in indoors. Now, Vera, let me ask you this, okay? Now, you know the University of Ghana boys are really, really troublesome. Did you have a boyfriend in school?
Yeah, I did start dating someone level 200.
And he didn't disturb you, distract you in any way?
I think maybe that was how come it didn't last. Because if I had to do my assignment, it's the same 24 hours. Oh, let's go for a walk. My typical response was, this assignment has got to be done first before I could move.
Right.
And so I think naturally we did grow apart, and so then so I sometimes when I tell my students now that if you want a first class, wait when you are in 400 and start dating, then my male students in classes like, madam, you're spoiling our markets. Yeah.
You are spoiling our market, but it's the truth.
Yes.
Because they always want to take a walk.
Yeah, so I sometimes tell them that, you know, if you want one, maybe you should consider taking one whose course maybe is stressing them like yours.
Right.
So you spend your time studying together. But if you find that you're unequally yoked on maybe academics, in my case, because I had moved from purely languages into this field where all I'd ever heard back in school for the business students, hey, me balance here and balance you, meaning that they were trying to get the balance sheets, the trial balance to balance, and it never balanced because, you know, part of the accounting, finance relies on accounting, so you need to get your data. So let's say your bookkeeping, sales have come in, it's recorded in a certain way. Some of it is credit, some of it is cash. So when you finish, all those items have a way they're supposed to balance out, so that whatever has come in is equivalent to what literally has sort of gone out. Or so your debits and credits must all balance, meaning that this came in and is filled here, but it has an equivalent matching account.
Let me ask you first before you continue, what made you switch? Because it's you loved the French, although you said yes, they said you'd be a translator. But why you could have switched to any other course? Why business?
I guess that at the time, maybe the noise then was either, in fact, business was top on the list, I think, together with law and economics. So those were the, should I say, the sassy courses within the social sciences that were known. I believe today, looking back, there were others that were equally sassy, but it was what growing up back then, you either had to be a lawyer, an engineer, a doctor. Then sometimes they even add the pilot version.
I was going to say the same.
Thank you. So those were the hot whatnot. So back in school then, it was like, oh, only the brainy ones go to the business school. So it becomes like...
Is it still not the same?
Oh yes, the noise is there, but having experienced it, sometimes I realized that could actually switch people. Sometimes, if you're blessed and that's your calling, super. But sometimes these hypes have this tendency of switching young people into areas for the sake of the flex, if you like to call it.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's not necessarily their calling. So you find them performing, a bit subpar, as opposed to getting into the field that is really a calling with a passion. Because then when it gets challenging, the passion drives you to want to ace it. Mm-hmm. But when it's more of, I'm doing because other people are doing it, there's always this slightly below.
Did it become a passion for you?
For me, I think I just wanted to do something else in addition to the French. I in my mind, I thought I wanted something work. And then language was just a way to express the work.
Okay.
Yes. So in my second year, I tried to combine the French and my course, but for a newbie to the field of business, I realized that it was going to be difficult. So
Did somebody also tell you that maybe when you delve into that sector, if you come out of school, getting a job will be easy, making more money?
I think that is where maybe upbringing played a role. My passion was never about the money. It was about being happy, doing something I could do well at. Those were the things, and there's still this actually what drives me still. It's more of I want to have fun. I want to make an impact, and that's that. And I think I've always believed in this notion that if you pursue excellence, I think the money typically would follow you, because then people would look for you, would set you up and want to, I've asked for this one, I think I want Vera to be on it. And I think that has been, so it was never really about the money, because I remember when I finished first degree and everybody wants to go in banking sector, because yes, I finally majored in banking and finance. Of course, when it was time to choose, the story was, and accounting, that's for the brainy students. Mm-hmm. Then, so my auntie, who is an academic, then said, if you've gone to the business school, then do accounting, because every institution at least would need an accountant, so there are job prospects. My parents, on the other hand, had a very different but very interesting perspective. They were like, I should read marketing. The reason being that they had this colleague at work whose child had finished marketing from the business school and had a first class. And they know that I'm brainier, and the colleague doesn't let them rest at work. The child got first class. So me too, I should do some and get first class some, so they can brag. So my parents were pro-marketing, right? My auntie, an academic, was more pro-accounting. But for some reason, I found the accounting maybe not to be me. Accounting is a field that has a requirement for, let's say, sticklers for rules, because it's rule-based.
Right.
This must go here. Like, you don't play around with it. Mm-hmm. Marketing, yes, is more of the artistic. The science bit is there, but it's more of also a human interface thing. I did realize maybe it wasn't really for me. I still loved my maths, but I also wasn't too keen on going for more of a typically rule-based profession. I wanted something that allowed me, so
flexible.
I ended up with banking and finance, because with finance I get to blend the two. The art side of me that enjoys to play around and test things, and then the science bit that requires the rigor. So with the finance, I got to practice both the art and science of getting things done.
How did your parents feel when you told them?
I think for a while, growing up, I was a straight good kid, but I was very vocal, and I am still very vocal on issues so I remember letting my parents know that despite everything, they sent people to school who didn't do well, but I will be the one doing the learning, so I get to do what I want to do, and I'm sure I'll do very well. So at a point they were like, okay, whatever it is you want to do. Of course, having made it to the business school was enough satisfaction for them.
Right.
So whatever you do at the business school, they know you somehow ace it. So
you aced it?
Yeah, so I got a first class in banking and finance.
Wait, did you people hear that? Did you hear that? Banking and finance. What did you get?
Oh, just a first class.
Did you just say just?
Oh, I think it's doable for so many, but I think maybe, but my motivation back then was that I knew that those were the days when all first class students got to shake the sitting president. And so when I heard that story, I was like, me too. I will shake the sitting president's son.
Wow.
So, and I decided to check, okay, those were the years when you finish in June, July of the previous year. You'll be graduating the following March. So I finished June 2003, and I knew that 2004 we'll be going for election year. So for political expediency, the president must show he can't send a representative. So that was for me that, oh, for sure, me too.
You will shake.
I will get to shake a sitting president.
Who was the president at that time?
So Kufuor, so of course 2000 through to 2004. So I was like, I will get to shake a sitting president. And so that became the motivation to try and work at the grade points that
happened.
And it happened.
So after the first class, what next?
So after the first class, I remember I was doing my long essay, which was the project work, and then my supervisor was like, oh, I like you and I like the way you write.
Whether so you didn't go work?
No. In between, I used to do grant sales, whatnot. So, but after my national service days, so when I was about to finish, she asked, would you want to be my assistant? So I was like, okay, I could. So, and I thought that, okay, I'll join, because most of the females who had joined as TAs were actually doing mostly the office, admin. Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I could easily do that. Until I got in, and then she called me and said, oh, no, so to get you, one of the first things I need you to do is to handle tutorials. Oh, that day my heart went from here to the feet because I panicked. I was like, me, go and stand in front of the students and teach. It won't happen. But then I look back to that, like, that's strange, because that was just as a first degree. These days we don't do that. Most of our first degree holders are a bit more playful and all that. But back then, first degree, you finish and you could be a tutorial assistant, and you actually went to class to help the students to solve. So when I came, she said, I remember my first tutorial time, sure, I kept on pushing the time. And then the students were also struggling, because this was business finance, which was the course I was at. The students too wanted me, so they booked me 2 hours. 30 minutes, I was panicking. So I went to class like, oh, I have something to do and whatnot, so I'll do 1 hour. I kid you not, I was panicking, because I remember when I sat in that class, it didn't really make that much sense, but it was when I had to do tutorials. So yes, I passed it all right, but I looked around like, oh, this is an interesting course. So I started reading, I was like, so this was the course that proved so, difficult. So, okay, how do I make it easy and meaningful? Because I remember once when we started the end, one lecturer had to stand in for a colleague and came in. And some of us were totally new to the whole field of finance. So we didn't know what finance was in general, because we had just transitioned to majoring. And the person comes in and says, oh, they're standing in for so and so. Then luckily for us, this other faculty had merged both semester 1 and 2 material. So this person apparently picked something in the middle that maybe he liked or so, and then just went, oh, what is time value of money? One of the very key constructs in finance. And everybody in the class was like, Hey, what's that one? What's the time value of money? Nobody's saying anything because, in fact, we have no idea. I don't know which textbook is coming from. In fact, I had no. So then he was like, okay, so you don't tell me, I know, I won't tell you, let's move on. And then at that point, I'm like, hey, am I going to finish this course? But God really goes. So when I got a chance to be a TA for that particular course, I promised myself that if I walk into class, when I leave, the students should be enlightened.
Yeah.
And so when I remember I did the first tutorial session, I truncated from 2 hours to 1. They were also struggling, I guess, just like me back then. So I truncated from 2 hours to 1 because I was panicking. Was I going to give them the same experience I felt I had having been fresh? And then just when I finished the 1 hour and I was leaving the class, then one student said, oh, Miss, those of my name, Maiden, Miss Sully, I want to say something. I was like, I panicked. I was like, did I do something wrong? Did they read something that I didn't speak to? They said, oh, you make finance so easy. Why have you been hiding all this while? Oh, God.
Wow.
It sort of, I was like, okay, I can do this thing. So I went back. My next lesson, I made sure that when I'm walking out, and I realized that the more I immersed myself, the more fun it became. So immediately I signed up to do my master's. And so I was enrolled to get to be a GA, that's a graduate assistant, to also help with tutorials. And then after submitting,
you were using it to learn at the same time.
Yes. So then, of course, I made it a point that yes, I needed to then, if I was going to, recently I'm learning something, it says you cannot give what you don't have. So then I made it a point that okay, I need to be able to breathe and live it. It needs to be me. So in doing that, so my GA years as a graduate assistant, and then my TA-ship after submitting my MPhil. I remember when I told my mom that, okay, I think I want to do an MPhil. Hey, but you, the course they say people do and they don't finish. Why are you going to do some? Because Master of Philosophy is the research-based masters, and most people sometimes struggle to put their thesis. I said, oh, if they say it's 2 years, I'm going to finish in 2 years. And I can say to the glory of God, when I submitted my work, most people were like, are you done?
How did you do it?
And then, so my supervisor then was like, oh, the work is great. So submitted for a journal publication. And I submitted and it got accepted as is. I was shocked myself. I remember when I did my very first ever presentation for my thesis, proposal defense. I finished and my sitting HOD then, professor, said, I like you. Hurry up, finish, let me employ you. Wow. And so that was also some kind of motivation to quickly put my work together, quickly hand in. And then I came on board as a lecturer. Having truncated for a year, I got married, had my first baby. Then I joined Legon officially in 2008.
Wow. What a story. Wow. Now, I'm just wondering how, you were able to do all of this as you were not even on salary from what you're saying. How are you surviving?
So during my years as a TA, I guess because I enjoyed the teaching more than the money. So this is what actually sometimes started happening. Students will come to you, oh, Farah, can you help us with this area? We don't understand it. Will you charge? I said, I'm not charging. Then, okay, all right. So I found some of them, that's what they do. They'll come, I finish teaching, and they say, oh, then let's escort you to the roadside to pick a car. Oh, can I carry your bag for you? I didn't know. So by the time I get home, they've actually done some contributions, and then they put them in. So yeah, those kind of things. So I think during my TA years, I also, just before after passing out and waiting for my appointment, I did a part-time date with Ashesi. And then they offered to consider that I do full-time. But I was like, oh, Legon had already, my HOD then had offered the opportunity to join Lagos. Of course, the alma mater bit was there for me. I wanted to join Lagos. So that's how it come. So in between years, I did get deals here and there. But of course, from where I grew up, I think I could literally live on water and still not be bothered. I could sleep I don't mind where. So life for me was, and it's still quite simple. You take what comes to you and you work with it. So that was how I
realized the memories of, how they used to carry your bag and put the money in there, got you a little teary.
Yeah, because I think it shows appreciation, which is something I have to confess. It gets you to appreciate that if you do it right, there are some people who genuinely will appreciate it and they pay for it one way or the other. So they help you, they open doors for you, and that's how life has been.
It's touching. You inspire a lot of people out there.
Thank
the
you.
fact that you've put smiles on the faces of people. I mean, hearing people tell you make it so easy alone is heartwarming.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Now, for you at home that you are actually watching today and you want to say something to Vera, just call and let's hear your voice. She might have taught you in school. You might admire her. Just call us and let's hear from you. Whatever you have to say to Vera, just talk to her this morning. The phone number is on the phone. We've activated it. Just call us and let's hear from you. Okay, and we're still talking to Vera, and Vera, you have done so well.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering how your parents feel right now about you.
Oh, my parents, right now they have celebrity status. That's what. so they said, oh, now they're also getting the congratulations song. We're calling them. Say, your daughter has done A, B, C, D, and then she's like, oh, but that's the work of God. It's because I'm sure growing up where we started from and where we are now, nobody saw it coming. But I can say that the journey has been quite, should I call it a bit, oh, thank you.
That's okay.
Thank you. That the journey, I've had a lot of support along the way. I guess my husband has been very supportive. In fact, most people will say, he says that, oh, when you become somebody great, if for nothing at all, my name will trend, so go all out. So I find that when opportunities come, balancing that with family, I don't always have to look back and, stall. Yes, there are times I feel that, okay, this one I could hold on, but he's never given me reason to have to force myself to stand back, because he was like, just go.
Go ahead and do it.
Just go. Hurry up and get the title so me too I can trend.
Oh, wow.
So those were some of the, so there were times when I've had to write. He could actually go look for a place. I remember when I had to put the finishing touches on my PhD thesis and I just couldn't seem to focus. I was like, I have to submit this thing right now. And then he goes and he just books a hotel and packs me out of the house. Go write and finish it. And then, in fact, before I had to wrap up the PhD, when it became clear that I had to fly out, he was then banking. And so he looked at it and said, no, if you're gone, and then I leave the house by 6, and my parents were not immediately available. My mom was also out then it meant that the children would be at the mercy of the help. And so depending on, of course, whatever finesse, character traits, etc., that would be. So he decided to take a break from the banking career. Yeah, you don't find a lot of men do that. So he decided to go private so that he'll be available for the children so I could
go to school.
Yeah. So just about when I was about wrapping up, then he signed up for law school. And so he's a practicing lawyer now.
Wow, what a story. Now, Vera, let me read this, okay? It says, the University of Ghana has a female professor of finance for the first time in 75 years history and in 6 decades since the University of Ghana Business School was established.
Yes.
How do you feel?
I think I'm still dreaming. I told somebody I think I'm still floating. It's still, because I'm not sure I actually set out to be. I guess I was just having fun. In fact, in the early days when some of my male colleagues were moving, they're like, one of the first HODs I met when I came in officially, that's Professor Bo, actually the first professor of finance in the whole university in Ghana, I believe. Yes, he was like, hurry up and bring the dossier. And I was like, oh no, I'm busy having babies. When I finish, I'll come and look at what. So I think I never looked at timelines, really. I think I was, like I said, I think I was having fun along the way. Yes, keeping in mind that there were rules to be followed. You needed to do A, B, C, D. So yes, I'll do something at a point like, hey, I'm having babies, don't come and worry me. Then I just let go. But there were some too who carried me along. Professor Ball was key. He still carries. So I have this book, I'm writing this chapter. Come on board, let's write. Professor Jassi. So yes, there were some who carried me along and motivated me. So some of them say, hey, come, you can't be sleeping. Come, let's do this one. And so those were the things. So I didn't see it really coming. I think I'd never given a thought. It landed and then I suddenly looked around. So I think it was even Professor Bo was like, but have you noticed what you've done? I was like, which one? He says, but you're the first in Ghana. So he's lying. So I said, okay, let me go check. Then I start calling. I was like, oh, no, but I can't be a lone ranger like that. And so I think I'm still processing it because I think when the business school did the article, yes, I saw it. Okay, it's cool. And that was like Friday evening. So Monday morning, I was at home with hubby, one or two friends had come around. We were just chatting. Then my phone was ringing. I was like, what is this disturbing me? It's Monday though, but I'm not ready to do any serious work for now. I worked, and that's the beauty of academia. I could wake up. So yesterday I slept like, midnight plus somebody's thesis. I woke up this morning, tried to finish a bit of it more. So that's the beauty of the flexibility that allows also to blend with family. So I was like, who's disturbing? I didn't sleep much, so I'm not even ready for phone calls. I picked my phone and my phone was all packed. I'm like, what's going on? Then I see that somehow whether City News or so had, like, what's going on? And then the phone just went on fire.
Everybody was calling.
Everybody was calling. Those who knew me from ages ago, they were calling, sending messages. I think I'm still floating. I'm not sure I've landed yet. I think it hasn't.
It hasn't sunk in yet. You ask yourself, God, is this me?
Yes.
Is this me?
I asked, yes. From where? So I think on my 40th, I remember something when I said, oh, someday I want to write a book from the shores of Jamestown to the corridors of academia.
You should.
Because I think there's potential there, but I think for want of the right dynamics, a lot of them, they sink because maybe pressure, what have you. After SHS, I remember, we had a 2-year lapse between finishing school, goes to the university. So I decided to learn how to make hair. So I actually learned hairdressing.
Oh.
And I remember parents bringing their children in, 14, 15, just finishing as JHS. And they said, oh, she's graduated. Graduates, do the hair for her.
So she's not going back to school?
Oh, somebody actually asked me when I finished my BC, my last paper, it's news. So when I was walking home, I met a neighbor on the street. Hey, school about channel, does it mean, will you continue? I said, oh yes, of course. Like, it was not even up for discussion. Hey, Baba, boy, meaning you're going to worry your head. And so it's something that there's a subtle environment that somehow seems to just,
kill it. But people like you will definitely give, inspiration to the young people out there in Jamestown. They will know that they can do it if you've been able to do it.
Yes.
Now, let me show you some pictures on the screen. And when the pictures come in, who are these?
These are my siblings, so that's me.
Yes.
That's number 2, the nurse, and that's number 3.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. That's nice. So we took you back to memory lane.
Sure.
Will you remember the year this was taken?
So this is actually my late uncle's house. I'm sure he was known because he was in the media industry. That's Godwin Cote, the late Godwin Cote. Oh. That's my dad's younger brother. He's just after him, but they all
he was
same
my
mother
in Legon.
Okay. Yes. So that was the day he had a small party for the daughter.
Okay.
and then we were in the house to celebrate with.
Nice.
Yeah, so the picture, I think we somehow trimmed the ones because the memories were very traumatic. So yes, but this one was actually in his home.
Okay.
And then we took the picture. And there's a Holy Child.
Yes.
That was last year when we went to take over the baton for preparing for our 25th anniversary, the Legacy Project. So we went to,
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Which other picture do we have? Okay. We have more pictures. Okay. Oh, that's you.
Yes. Yeah, this was on a day I delivered a talk for the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce on financial bookkeeping for productivity. So I think they took the shot. I remember very well saying that my cheeks were all over the place.
The knot is beautiful. It's a beautiful picture. But let's talk about some of your challenges. People at home, I think, it's been a rosy journey. You know,
it hasn't been.
Tell us some of the challenges you've been through.
Home wasn't easy. There were times when it was difficult to feed. Yeah. But I think in all of it, I look back and I still wonder, there must have been some still voice that just said, push on. Because you go to school and some people get to have their books and the parents buy the books and they're begging them to learn and they will learn. Luckily, some of them will come to you and say, Vera, take the book, learn, and come and teach me. Hallelujah, that's a free textbook for me. So I'll devour the textbook so that I can teach you some.
Wow.
And so those were, So going to school, I remember in the early days, Dad used to struggle to settle the school fees up front. So there are times he would, and he was diligent on that. For that, I give him, I've teased him over the years that he's done it for so long, it's become a part of him. So he'll go to school with you, he tell the headmaster that I will pay the fees, but I don't have what it takes to pay it up front. So I'm going to pay it in installments. And so please don't sack them. You know, they used to have those...
Yeah, the sacking
things. And so whilst we're not, because of his consistency in keeping up with the bill payment, we rarely got sacked from school, even though we were usually in the red right till the end, but he'll pay in bits and pieces throughout. And so that has been there.
Right.
Yeah.
For those of you at home who want to say something to her, the phone line is now activated, so you can call and share your goodwill message with her, actually. I know that you have been inspired, so just share your goodwill message with her. And this picture on the screen.
So now that's MOH. I think it was final day after JHS. I think we had a small party.
Okay.
So I think that's Pakwesi, Ninchi, myself, I think Asedu and To. That's Chris here. Boy, I think he is also at Eugene. With
so was it like a prom day or something?
What do you call it prom? It was just more like, you know, what would they call it, leavers party or something. I've forgotten that, but I think that day, I think I went with my mom. So there must have been something else in relation to parents as well. I can't remember exactly what, but I know it was... a celebration.
But you sugar your body power.
Hey, I was feeling schwals at the time.
You really looked so good. Like, yo, you knew what's up. Was there a camera in your hand?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was those ones were some of the promotions of Godwin, because he was. So every time we needed to do anything photo, I'll go harass him that he's the photo person. So he should get either the camera or sometimes he'll buy the film. You know, those times the rolling. So then. I remember there was one we took the pictures. The camera wasn't fitted right, so even though it rolled, it never took any pictures.
So even though it rolled, it didn't take any pictures?
Of course, it hadn't been fitted right, so you click and then you hear and then we finished and we went to actually run the thing and you know, you have to look, you have to do the negatives and it was blank. So all those memories, yes, you didn't get any. Yeah.
Now let's talk about the things that you do for fun. What's your favorite music?
Well, I usually like the R&Bs, so sometimes the Celine Dion's and the whatnots, and anything that's usually soothing is for me. And then once in a while, of course, on my own, and when I sometimes want to distress, then I could turn my car windows rolled into a small disco to just bounce up a bit in the car so I move on to work.
Okay, so I have my very first caller on the line. Hello, good morning, Gifty.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
All right,
How about you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm just sitting in front of my television and I'm watching Vera.
You can
In
talk
fact,
to her.
I am so touched. Professor,
Yes.
I am so touched.
Thank you.
And I'm really motivated this morning. I have kids. I'll make sure they'll get to where you are by God's grace.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It
I'm sure they can do even better. I wish them all the best.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
I'm so happy and so grateful.
Thank you.
God bless.
All right, thank you so much, Gifty. Let's go to Kumasi. Now, your camera is here, so you can just look at them in your camera here. Okay, so let me go to Kumasi. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, what's your name, darling?
Okay, I'm Akosia Sandra. I'm calling from Kumasi.
Okay, Akosia, talk to Vera.
Hi, what's your name, darling? Hello.
Akosia, lower the volume on your television set for me, okay?
All right, that's fine. I don't know Professor Vera, but watching her, I've been teary. I've done my degree and also done with my master's. I must say that she's really an inspiration. I really want to become a professor one day, and watching you has been fulfilling. Thank you so much for your impact. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Akosia.
Akosia, thank you so much for calling. We are grateful.
Thank you too.
All right, so Benedicta, you're calling us from Russia. Ghana, Russia, actually. Hello, Bene. Yes, talk to us.
Hello, Auntie Vera.
She's listening to you talk. Yes.
Okay. Auntie Vera, Lisa Amaruega.
I can hear. Oh, okay. There we go.
Hello? Oh, unfortunately, please do call us. If you call us, just lower the volume on your television set. I can probably pick just about 2 more calls, and then I have to end the segment. Unfortunately, we don't have the whole day. I wish I could have you for the whole day. It's so interesting having a conversation with you. All right, so Wisdom has called me. Good morning. How are you?
I'm very, very happy about Prof. I give you 21 gun salute. I'm highly impressed about your achievement. But watching you from a distance, I'm not a legal product, but in fact, I appreciate your laurels. Kudos.
Thank you. Thank you, Wisdom.
All right, thank you so much, Wisdom, and I'll pick my final caller. So just 1 minute more to go. Okay, so I think I have some messages coming in. Let's go into messages. Of course, you're popular. You're a celebrity.
That is what it's looking like. I'm still trying to process that.
You are a celebrity. Okay, so I think that I have some messages coming in. Let me quickly read the messages here. This one says, honestly, I'm like, wow, I must admit that she's very young to be. I'm very happy for Prof. This coming from Prince Cletus Danny. All right, another one coming in. Let me quickly download. Some of them are, coming in through. I'm trying to get all the messages. I have a lot. Okay, let me go and pick my final caller on the phone. Hello, good morning, Benny. Hello. Oh, unfortunately, this is where you are trying to download and then the internet tells you, okay. Now, Richie Richardson says, oh, I am really inspired. Okay, Richie, Vera has heard all that you've said. So more messages coming in as well, but unfortunately, I don't have enough time. I can't read all my messages. I'm trying so hard to see if I can pick one more call, but if I'm not able to pick the call, I'm just going to have to say thank you so much for being here. Before you go, this is one thing that you have to do. Of course, if you love Celine Dion, if you love Whitney Houston, I have to love Vera's voice as well. Vera cannot leave without giving me a song. And so, Vera, I'll have to let you do this for me.
This is serious.
Yes, this is serious. But before you do the singing, so As you prepare yourself to do the singing, what I'll say to everybody out there that I hope you've been inspired today. Now, my guest for today has inspired me. I want to go back to school because I also want to be the first professor in a certain zone. And she has done it. She's actually changed the norm. In 75 years, the University of Ghana Business School has never had a female professor. She is the one. And so want to say that we congratulate her and we celebrate her today. Vera, before you go, you will sing. But for the people watching you, what do you have to tell them?
Yeah, I think what I can say is that...
Can you say it in French? Is it possible?
Oh, I'm sure I left my French more than how many years ago. Yeah, so I intend to go back and polish now because clearly I have to. But let's say I'll still do that in English, maybe even in Ga, if possible.
Please go ahead.
No fano to fi koko him no ba nyo fi be ko me ni bi e ko me ja shin ko o mo twi to twi shin do ko him no aken shu ene manyama fe ya ke me na me fi he na me je abuwa ma kan ba cho loko she drama na amecho e wo ka no ko kon him no talk fe no ko ale no ko kon twi no ke he wala wo se no ke Solomon ke fai pa mo anye he e ba ye mu e habo e won man my way.
Simply put, whatever you have decided to do, just make sure that you stay focused, add prayers, and God will definitely answer, and you will definitely achieve it. My guest for today has been Vera l.fiador, and she is a professor, the first female professor in the University of Business School, University of Ghana Business School. Vera, the song, we are ready. Which one are you giving to us? Don't play this one. Please don't give me a song at the background. I want her to do, no, she's going to do a song for us. Yes?
All right,
let's see
which one.
Okay.
I must be crazy now. Maybe I drink too much. But when I think of you, I long to feel your touch, to whisper in your ears, words that I hold as mine, words only you would hear, if only you were mine. I wish I could go back to the very first day I saw you.
Woo!
Should have made my move when you looked in my eyes. 'Cause by now I know that you feel the way that I do. And I whisper these words as you lie here by my side. Saying I love you. Please say you love me too. These 3 words, they could change our lives forever. And I promise you that we will always be together till the end of time. And that goes to my husband.
That goes, my husband is watching. He'll be sending me a message that you don't sing for me. Vera, thank you so much for being here. We're grateful.
Sure.
And this has been all for us for Big Interview today. We don't even enjoy the show. Don't go anywhere because we have entertainment coming your way. And l.fiador will lead us in that conversation. We'll be right back.